So we're here today with Clayton Wight out of Sarasota, Florida, who owns Project 6 Personal Training Studio. So thanks for being with us today, Clayton.
Sure, buddy.
So question one, we chatted about this before, but just remind me, you've been in this line of work, in the fitness business, fitness industry, working as a personal trainer for about 30 years or a little bit more, or approximately 30 years?
31 this summer.
31. That's a long, man. It's 3 decades.
Yeah.
Um, so obviously you've seen a lot of changes.
Yes.
On a quick note, could you share with us, how did you stumble into this line of work? Because most people don't wake up and say, I want to be a personal trainer.
Right. And as you know, there wasn't really a thing back in the day too. Um, so I had a girlfriend in college who got an aerobics instructor certification. And I was like, wow, you can get paid to work people out. That's pretty awesome. She said, well, they have a personal training certification too. You should look into it. You love working out. That would be great for you. And I was like, man, I can get paid to teach people how to work out, because I was already like kind of like the psycho fitness guy amongst my friends.
Yeah.
And so I was always reading, experimenting, trying stuff out on them. And I was super into it already. And I was like, wow, that seems like a perfect fit. So from there, I ended up going to college for phys ed, because there was no such thing as a fitness pursuit degree then. It was
Yeah.
my major was focused on cardiac rehab and facility management.
Okay.
But like working people out because they want to work out really wasn't part of the protocol. It was much more laboratory based, that kind of stuff, exercise testing,
Yeah.
but not like fitness for the general public.
Uh-huh.
So as close as I could get to getting a degree in what I thought I wanted to do. And truth be told, I just didn't know what I wanted to do, and I loved that at the time. And I was like, yeah, when I grow up, I'll figure out what I want to do next. And here I grew up where I just really liked this, I guess.
So you had a lot of physiology, it sounds like, in college too, right? With all the testing and stuff you're referring to.
Yep.
Very interesting. Very interesting. And so I'm curious, you're a personal trainer, but did you ever do any work in the cardiac rehab realm at all? Or
Never my thing. I was never the slightest bit interested in it.
okay.
I always classify myself as a generalist.
Yeah.
Stuff like that gets so like focused. That's just really not my personality.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with like physical therapy. It's just too narrow, and
Okay.
I definitely like the more broad. It's not that haven't had people with heart issues or haven't had to deal with people with injuries, but the more narrow focus stuff they can go to those specialists for, and then come to me for their broader fitness interests or goals.
So I guess you like to have latitude with how you work, it sounds like.
Absolutely.
Why is that? Have you always been that way, or is it just
I'm
how do
like
you
that
like to work?
with everything I do. I can deep dive to a point, and then I start to lose interest the deeper it gets. And to be hyper focused on a specific avenue of something just really isn't something I ever did in any facet of my life. Sports, music, you name it. I have a lot of interest, but they only go so deep.
So I like the word generalist. That's a pretty good term.
Thank you. You
Yeah,
have to figure some way to give it a label that
you
doesn't
do.
sound right.
But really, that means you're no. So when someone comes to you, which I want to eventually jump into about your clientele and that sort of thing. But so it could be somebody that's wanting to work on their endurance work, or maybe they are an endurance athlete, but they're overcoming maybe a hamstring injury, or it's somebody that's a former athlete 20 years ago, and maybe they played college football, but they're 50 pounds overweight. You generally can kind of help a little bit of everybody with your
Yeah,
approach.
I've had the huge cross section of people. I mean, I've worked with 10-year-old kids. I mean, if you want to talk about coaching too, I mean, I've coached lacrosse to 6-year-olds, um, but all the way up to guys in their 90s, uh, competitive bodybuilders, um, competitive lacrosse players, tennis players, golfers, um, all over the spectrum. And the person that just wants to lose a few pounds or look good for the summer or whatever. So all of it. But again, in any of those categories, you're getting a broader thing from me rather than a hyper focus. There's certainly plenty of people that are, you know, much more detail oriented if you're going to be a bodybuilder doing a competition than I am, but
Uh-huh.
let's get down to like the deepest part of the rabbit hole. And if that's what you're looking to do, then I'm not your guy. But for the meat and potatoes aspect of it, I like to think that I can help anybody out.
Well, that's good then, because so I guess I mean to get to that though, I guess it has taken 31 years to acquire all the breadth of knowledge and just understanding, as well as just having the people skills, right? To be able to drop and turn and pivot and do whatever. That's something you really can't get out of a book, correct?
I don't think so. I've known a lot of people that I thought were uh, intellectually awesome trainers, but they didn't have the social skills to make a go of it. Some of that, I mean, I think you can hone, and some of it I think you just get born with.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm an army brat, so I moved around a lot. So I kind of had to develop people skills because I was always trying to fit into a new school scenario
Yeah.
and make friends with new people. So I credit that with my people skill stuff. Didn't love it while it was going on, but now I look back and I thank my dad.
So, now we're getting off the track a little bit. So you actually became a very resilient young person due to moving and going into these new school situations, having to make friends, overcoming whatever it is. So you became resilient. So what I'm wondering is the customers that you have and that you've had over the past 10, 15, 20 years, the people that keep coming back, are they, I mean, I'm just wondering, do they come back specifically just for that workout? Or I wonder if you're giving them something else that's more of a psychological component that maybe they don't get anywhere else through your resiliency, I mean.
Could be. I mean, I think, in my mind, there's a number of reasons. There's definitely, I know people in this line of work that are devoted to their avenue, and I feel like that can get boring for everybody.
Yeah.
I'm always interested in trying something new, learning something new. Um, I don't want to make it sound like I'm a trend follower, but it's exciting when you've been doing something for a period of time and something else comes along that you've maybe never done before. And that
Uh-huh.
brings an enthusiasm to the way you teach, which I think rubs off on the people that you're teaching.
Yep.
So I think that's part of it. Certainly, you develop friendships where people feel a loyalty. Um,
Hmm.
you know, it's not, what am I going to get if I move on to another person? I'm going to have to deal with this personality that I might not jive with. There's a comfort that
Yep.
comes along with being around for a long time too. So I don't want to dismiss that aspect of it either. There was a third part.
Well, you mentioned lacrosse a moment ago. So I wonder, when people come to you, and maybe a better way I should phrase it is, since you have been a coach in sports,
Mm-hmm.
do you bring the mindset of a coach with you sometimes to certain people that you are working with?
To some extent, I think I was a personal trainer before I was a coach.
Okay.
So in some respects, I think I bring a lot of like that empathy that you have in a one-on-one situation to
Yep.
coaching situation where I've dealt with groups, and I think
Gotcha.
a lot more maybe individual minded um, in the group scenario than a lot of people might be, rather than group minded in an individual situation.
Yeah.
Follow me. Um, I mean, it's fun to break out, the barking coach thing if I have a group of people going in a personal training situation or something like
I
that.
guess, I guess what I'm looking at, or kind of what I mean, is by the coach. Let's say you take a coach of of an NFL football team, right? Whoever
Mhm.
that coach is has been in that line of work for ages, right? At maybe collegiate level, they were an athlete, so they have all this wisdom, right? And so they're kind of like, even though the guys that are on the team, they're the coach. In many ways, they're kind of like a resource for positive thinking. When they have a problem, they might go see the coach versus a family member, right? Because they can confide in the coach because they trust the coach's objectivity. I guess that's what I was getting at. More of this, where people may come to you. It's like people go to church every weekend to hear the
Mhm.
same preacher, right?
Right.
People come to see Clayton over and over too, right? So I
Well,
wonder if there's a psychological component in there.
yeah, absolutely could be. Again, I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg. Is it that they got to know me so they keep coming because I can offer that, or do they come to me because they think I can offer that, and then it turns out that I do? Hard to say. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you like to try to present yourself as a role model, as
Yeah.
knowledgeable in your field, as somebody that they can count on, confide in. There's definitely a huge amount of the hairdresser type of confidence that you get in this line of work. I've had people straight up told me that I'm cheaper than going to a therapist.
Yeah.
So there's, that kind of comfort
Yeah.
and confidence for sure.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was getting at, because it is interesting, the dynamic between you and your customer, right?
Absolutely.
Now, I do want to circle back to sports. So, can you just kind of, I don't know, share with us here a little history chronologically, however you want to do it. Tell us about your background as an athlete. How did all this unfold?
Well, I started playing organized sports when I was real little, probably 8 years old, 7 years old, around in there. Soccer, then soccer and football. I mean, I was, every spring, every fall playing a sport. And
Okay.
um, the time that we grew up, if you weren't playing sports, you were playing outside with friends. And if I was outside and not in a sports season, then we were playing football, playing soccer, playing basketball, playing baseball, racing BMX bikes around the neighborhood. I was physical as often as I was allowed to be. Gym class and recess were my favorite classes in school. I've just always been active and came into high school and I played some freshman soccer. Then I moved over to football, went through football in high school, got into college, played some college football, Division III, discovered lacrosse, fell in love with lacrosse, and played lacrosse until I was 50.
Um, so you don't play lacrosse anymore then?
No, my last tournament I decided was my last tournament. I played it right when I was 50, and I still play. I play tennis. I picked up tennis probably in
Hey,
the last five
good for
years.
you.
I still have something I'm doing, but trying to get a bunch of middle-aged men to show up and go to a city that's across the state and everybody be there and play together as a unit. It's just you can't rely on it. It's just not the same thing as it was when I was younger.
It's
So
hard. Huh?
I decided finding one guy to play tennis with in my town is a lot easier.
That's pretty good. So it sounds like you had this internal motivation, even as a little kid, to get out and move, run, jump, throw, catch. Was that within you, or did your parents encourage you?
No, that was all me.
That's
Uh,
cool.
my parents are both athletes. My father was football, wrestling, and lacrosse. My mother was lacrosse, basketball, and field hockey. Uh,
Wow.
we're both, lettered in all three sports. Big athletes, but they never pushed it on me at all. They were very, what do they call it? Classified their parenting style as benign neglect.
Not like that. That's pretty good. Benign neglect. But no, it's pretty cool though. So I mean, you really, because people are wired different. But here you are, ever since you were a little kid, you had this internal drive, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, JR, I couldn't do anything else for a line of work except be up and moving. Um, you know, I would have loved to have been a professional athlete. That wasn't in the cards, but I'll tell you, like when I moved to Sarasota from Orlando, and that transition, I was set up full time personal trainer there. But getting started here, I had to pay my bills, so I landscaped, and
hey,
um, being outside, moving, sweating. Other than the pay, I was happy as could be. I love being active.
yep,
It's who I am. If I sit still too long, my eyes just start closing.
yeah. So you're a big guy too. How tall are you?
6'2".
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty wild. Now, question on the sports. This is a little bit more reflective.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so if you look back at sports, and here's your sports life, and here's your personal life, business life, whatever over here, as it parallels all this experience you have in sports. How has sports helped you in your life, whether it's personal, business, professional? How do you think this life of being an athlete has crossed over and helped you out?
I'd say the biggest thing is, well, there's a few things. Discipline, for sure. Just having something that you want, that you're willing to make sacrifices for, and that the discipline that comes with being willing to give things up to accomplish a goal, definitely is something that I got from sports. If you're not starting and you want to start, then you better work your butt off in the off season to move up the ladder. And I found that applies with everything.
Okay.
Um, and the other thing I would say is being able to handle disappointment and know that if you have discipline, that you can turn that disappointment into success. A no isn't the end of the road, or not getting what you want isn't the end of the road. There's light at the end of the tunnel if you're willing to work for it. And I don't know, like not getting your way, being let down. I've been let down by sports plenty of times in my life. It never made me lose my juice. So I
Yep.
don't know if that is in the same category, but um, you know, part of the beauty of sports is you can't win if there's no option to lose. So
Very good.
losing is part of sports, and even though that can suck, you still do it because you could still win. And I think
Interesting.
that's something that's always been part of my whole kind of outlook.
So it sounds like, yeah. So it sounds like these things we learn from sports, or someone can learn from sports, they're actually kind of you're part of your persona now as just a human being, how you view the world and how you function.
Yeah, yeah, and there's definitely a weirdness because when I'm around, I come across people that don't have that. I'm always like, "Didn't you play sports?"
I
Like, how is this not something that you don't already know?
love it.
But I don't know. But for some reason, it filtered through and made an impact on me for sure.
That's wild. Now, people that are over 40 and getting older, we all have injuries. So I'm just curious, I'm almost 60. You're what, 51, 52,
53.
53? So I'm just curious on a personal note, I mean, do you have any injuries that you have to deal with on a weekly basis, or are you pretty injury free, or do things come and go with the aches and pains in your body?
They come and go. I mean, I've always considered myself injury prone, and anybody that's played on a sports team with me will agree. um, but I've been very fortunate. I've never had I've never torn an ACL or anything that's like crippled me moving ahead. Um, some good ankle sprains, broken collarbone, busted teeth, stuff like that, but nothing that like keeps me from doing anything now. I've got the usual stuff that I'm sure you're familiar with, like why does my shoulder hurt today?
Yeah.
Why is my neck out of whack today?
Yeah.
And it goes away. It's not like it's a chronic thing. It's just the stuff that you have to deal with because our bodies aren't 20 anymore.
Yeah. So I'm curious, do you think you had a pretty good set of genetics coming from your mom and dad?
Again, I guess it all depends on how you look at it, right?
I mean,
I mean, in what way?
I don't know. Well, I'm just kind of recollecting, I can look at my brother and I think we were very blessed. But
Hmm.
I don't think it came from my mom's side of the family necessarily, although
Like you're talking physically blessed, but like in what way do you mean?
um well, I mean just with athleticism.
Okay.
The ability to move,
Then
get
absolutely.
do
I,
things. So
there
that came
were,
from your mom and dad probably, right?
my mom said I was walking at 10 months, which I guess is early.
Okay, well there you go then.
Right. So, I mean, and obviously that wasn't like a taught behavior. Um,
Uh-huh.
I would say that is probably genetic. Yeah.
Yep. That's pretty cool then. Okay. So because I mean, to me, there's, you see people that are, well, it's like you see people that are football players, and then there's football players, and then
Yeah.
there's like, well, there's a football player, right?
Right.
So everybody that's in the personal training business everybody's not a former athlete, nor do they have this, that, and the other thing behind them, right?
Right.
So I just wonder. It's kind of interesting. I think you're probably in a smaller group, if you will, of people that are personal trainers, but who were athletes, who have had this life of being blessed with genetics. Okay, so you're kind of in this pinnacle, is the way I would look at it, right? In your profession. And maybe that's why people are attracted to you, when they come and, hey, that's the guy I want to train with.
Um, I guess putting myself at the top of any pyramid is hard for me to do.
Well, no, I'm trying to be objective about it, right? I mean, here you are, you're a former athlete, college athlete.
Right.
You were walking by the age of 10, self driven to play sports like crazy since a little kid. Still picked up a new sport because you couldn't play what you liked. So here you are in your mind, I got to do something else, right? There's not too many people that are wired that way, Clayton.
Um,
And that's a good thing, though. That's a compliment.
yeah, no, I know it is. I guess it's just a hard compliment to take. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, some of it is just, I don't know, as you see things change, you don't want to let go, but you
Yeah.
got to be careful how hard you hold on. Um,
Hmm.
so you try to keep grinding in the amount that your body and your circumstances will allow you to keep grinding. But I
Uh-huh.
was going to say, in terms of being at the top of any pyramid, I also have to say just that my ability to stay the course and not give up and not say, well, I'm just going to go do something else. There's got to be a part of that too. There's got to be something
Yeah.
for, was it attrition?
Yeah.
um, just stuck around longer than a lot of people would bother to stick around. I also had the benefit of starting a lot earlier than a lot of people started. As like yourself, like our friend Mike Vega. I
Yeah.
mean, there aren't too many 30 plus year personal trainers in the world.
That's true.
Um, so we just had the benefit of falling in love with this line of work before most people even knew it existed. So um,
Yeah.
if that puts me at the top of a pyramid, I'll take it.
All right. Now, I want to jump in a moment. I want to jump into Project 6 personal training in a moment. But before that, I want to just kind of ask you, as you look at the past 30 years as a personal trainer,
Hmm.
you've been a fitness director. Now you own your own studio. And so a little reflection once again, if you were to look at things from a business perspective, not a personal trainer perspective, but what are some things that you've learned as a business person, say about this line of work, say over the last 20 years,
Hmm.
that you would want to share with people who maybe would have no clue, wow, I never thought about that. Or maybe there's people out there that are thinking about getting into this line of work. But what are maybe two, three, four things that are business related that were like, wow, or, and you don't forget that or whatever?
Right. Um, Stop me if I'm getting off to
Okay.
track what you're looking for. But first thing that comes to mind is if I was going to talk to a young trainer, somebody who's just starting off, is don't believe the hype. Don't get swept up into all the social media stuff that think you're going to be like a rock star trainer. Your chances of being a rock star trainer on social media are as good as they are being a rock star or a pro athlete. You know? It's probably not going to happen for you. I'm not trying to be a jerk,
No,
but
I like it. I like it. You're right. Yeah.
you're going to have to pay your dues.
Yeah.
And that means you're going to have to work for crap money at a big box gym where a lot of bodies walk through the door, and you can cut your teeth, hone your style, and become the busiest trainer there. And then, if you're ready to move on and stuff from there and get into a different environment, that's it. So you can make more money. But you're going to have to, nobody knows who you are and nobody cares who you are. So to
Yeah.
make that change, you got to put yourself in front of as many eyes as possible. Be the guy that's willing to be there all day long. Be the guy that's willing to be there to answer the phones every time the phone rings, or girl.
Yep.
Um, you gotta be willing to be the person that people associate with. That's the person you want to see for the training. That person helped me even though I didn't pay them. They fixed this thing for me, and then they didn't ask me for money or
Yeah.
say you should train with me. He just helped me because he saw I needed help, and then
Yeah.
he went away. Build a rapport with somebody who genuinely wants to help people rather than is only helping so that you'll train with them. And even though that might be the case, you're letting those dividends come around when that person's ready rather than being like, hey, can I help you with that? How about you buy some training?
Yeah.
So, use some tact when you're
Very
trying,
good. Yeah.
you know. So those are things I would give. Don't think that just because you're certified, people want to train with you. Um, you have to be a people person. You have to genuinely want to help people. I think those are things that I would prioritize. Our field has gotten way too much into sales and way too far away from customer service,
Interesting.
which is a shame.
Interesting.
Um, in terms of the industry, I would say be beware of dogmatic thinking. Stay open minded. It makes it more fun for you. It makes it more fun for your clients to be open to other things. If you just do the same, if I was doing the same workout programming that I was doing in 1992 with clients, I mean, I would be bored out of my mind. Never mind my clients.
Yeah.
Everybody needs something to keep it fresh, to make it feel like there's something else going on. So it's not just this monotonous misery. And there's people out there that will say, no, no, this is the way. You have to do it this way. It's not supposed to be fun. And I'm like, this way works, that way works, that way works. Variety is the spice of life. And to die on that hill so that you can say that you did seems short sighted to me. So if that,
Very insightful.
thank you. If
Very insightful.
I'd say those are my biggies right there.
No, that's okay. Now, tell us about Project Six Personal Training. How long you been in business? When did you come in business? What was the catalyst, if you will? And then, how does your business operate now? Like, how many trainers do you have? How many customers? Or like, how many sessions do you all do a week, for instance?
Mm-hmm.
And then, are you looking forward in the future? What are your plans for the future? Are you going to stay in Sarasota? You're going to open up one in Bradenton? What are you going to do?
Right. Well, I got into it sort of, got dragged into it. As you mentioned, I was a fitness director at a local place here in town for 17, 18 years around in there. And
Long time.
yeah, it was great. It was a close family. It was awesome. Loved working there. And they ended up selling. It was a family-owned business. And I landed at another gym and started off great. And the culture there changed dramatically the 3 years I was there. And by
Wow.
the end of the third year, I had clients saying they didn't want to be there anymore. So I was kind of stuck, with what my options were. And I just decided um, that it was time to be in charge of my own destiny. And
Okay.
something I had said for decades that I was never going to do, own my own place. I'd heard from lots of people that did it, horror stories. And I was like, well, I don't want that. But I just really didn't feel like I had a choice. I had a full clientele of people that I was confident would come with me. And so it wasn't like I was going to have to like start from scratch. So I had that going for me. And I had a client that owns commercial real estate. I approached him about asking if he had any available space, and he did. And so, like I said, felt like I had no choice. It was time, so I just did it. The initial, I actually worked hand in hand with my former boss at the family style gym. He helped me kind of put together my plan and told me whether or not he thought it was going to hold water. And I had a great idea that I was going to have like workout stations, like a squat rack with a bench and dumbbells, and everything was an all-in-one space for a trainer.
Oh, okay.
Another one for another trainer, and another
Oh,
one for another trainer, and
okay.
they would rent these out per month for me, like a hairstylist rents out a spot in a salon.
Yeah.
Um, but COVID hit like 6 months after I opened, and
After you opened, okay.
yeah, and did I say before?
No, I always thought, I guess I just thought that COVID was what caused you to open the place.
No,
Like,
no, no. I opened right
oh,
before COVID hit, and
wow, okay.
it turned out for the first time, I came there with many people that had trained with me for near 20 years at that point, and
Yeah.
15 years, 10 years, and a lot of these people started saying, "I really, really like being here with nobody else." And a lot of my relationships went to another level. I mean, people, we got a lot closer, and it was totally unexpected. But at the end of the day, floating a place by myself was not going to work. And I got a massage therapist in there, so that helped. And then one of my buddies that had worked with me at Bath and Racket came on board, and I just brought another trainer on board 3 or 4 months ago. So there's three of us training and one massage therapist. And right now, the only thing we've got in the works is I am trying to angle to basically market myself directly against these big box, high pressure sales gyms and offer affordable training. Like my hour training rate is the standard rate around here. It's expensive. It's an expensive town.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to market more like half hour to the like regular person that's
Gotcha.
not looking for super in depth. They want to check the fitness box, get in, get out, and not break the bank doing it.
Gotcha.
And my designs, I'm hoping it'll turn into something. I'm busy as I can handle right now, so it's something that I'm just kind of play with and see if it develops. And if it does, I'd love to see if I can turn it into something.
Yep.
But that's the only thing I got in the works right now. I'm excited about it. It's
Okay,
fun to.
it's good. Well, you know what? It sounds like it's almost like a, let's say, an automaker. They've been designing these cars for however long, but then they've done customer surveys. They've listened to customers that say, "Well, I would like a seat warmer on my
Right.
seat."
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, we're going to put in seat warmers in certain models of our cars to accommodate the customer's needs. That's kind of what you're doing.
Yeah, or you can look at it like, what is it? Lexus is the high-end Honda. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
like think of myself as having been Lexus, and I'm looking to be a little more Honda for some people that
Yeah.
might not have the wallet to break in for a Lexus, but Honda's a good car. It's reliable. I can get what I need out of that. And like I said,
Exactly.
it's not like you're not getting in shape, you're not improving, you're not developing a good habit, you're just not taking it to the nth degree. You're getting, you know, 80%, 90% of the benefit. It's just, you're not getting the full experience,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Nothing wrong with that. And I intend to keep doing hours. But the half hour thing, I think there's a market for it. I think there's lots of people that would do this if they thought that they could afford it. And I
Oh, I
think
think you're right.
I'm hoping that I can reach those people.
So, Sarasota, it's still growing like crazy. And, I moved to Boca Raton. Of course, we're moving back to Sarasota. But my younger son, Zach, who he's a firefighter with Sarasota County, he's
Mm-hmm.
always like, Dad, you wouldn't believe there's a new subdivision going up here.
Oh, yeah.
Or we're waiting. He works out of the downtown fire station. Or he's like, Dad, we're waiting for this high rise to get done, but we're already running 13 calls a day. It's gonna add another, whatever. And so it seems like there's more and more people moving into Sarasota. Are you benefiting from that as a businessman? Are you seeing that you're able to pay your bills and yada 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 as a businessman in Sarasota?
I mean, I'm doing well at the gym. I have no complaints. Um, in terms of the growth of Sarasota, like I said, I'm kind of dealing with a lot of longevity with my clientele.
That's good.
I have some new people, but I can't think of. I have like one person that I picked up like 6 years ago that moved here from Alaska. That's the newest guy I got.
I
And
love it. Love it.
I picked up a couple a few months ago, and they've both been here. They both went to high school here, so they're new clients, but they're not new to Sarasota.
How about that? Okay.
So most of my stuff is pretty much local yokels for sure. I haven't gotten a lot out of. I think if you're new to this town, I think the easiest place to start is, oh, well, there's the gym. And you go
Yeah.
to an LA Fitness or whatever,
Yeah.
Crunch, and whatever these places are. And I don't think you start looking for what else is out there until you get burned by the sales pitch of that place and you start being like, huh, this kind of environment's not for me. Um, I had a couple of calls just like that a few weeks ago. But also, the landscape here has changed tremendously since you lived here. There's a big box gym followed by 4 or 5 boutique gyms on every corner. I mean,
Wow.
fitness everywhere. And so how much is there to go around? I guess, everybody's trying to take a piece of the pie. So again, I'm very fortunate that I started taking my piece of the pie 25 years ago here. So
Very good. Second to the last question,
yeah.
Clayton. Share with us because people out there might be kind of interested. You're a personal trainer. A little over 50. So you're like you said, we got the shoulder that may pop up every now and then, or wow, what did I do to my back? I don't remember injuring it. Why is it so tight? What do you do for exercise during the course of a week? What different activities are you involved in to kind of keep your mind sharp and keep your body healthy? What do you do?
I weight train depending on the time of year, 2 to 3 times a week.
Okay.
I'm generally, I am just as I said I am. Need to keep it interesting. So I've, recently changed training styles that I had changed recently before that I had changed recently before that. So I'll try to dig deep and stay with something for 6 months to a year, and
Uh-huh.
then mix it up. It just makes me more interested in showing up. And at 53, and I train at my gym, so I'm at work when I'm doing
That's
my
good.
fun
Okay.
time.
Yep.
It isn't. It isn't. I mean, I probably would be better served to go find a gym outside of work instead of being at work for my recreation.
Yeah.
I might find a little bit more enthusiasm in it there. So, am I as passionate about it as I once was? Probably not, but that's why I like to mix things up so I can
Yeah.
be excited to experiment on myself first. If I like what I'm got going on, then I bring that into my clientele.
Huh,
Uh,
that's interesting now. That's pretty cool approach right there.
of trying it on myself first.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. That's hey, that's okay.
Yeah, and they all know they're guinea pigs ish too. I tell them that
I
I
love it. They
well,
know it.
I've been playing with this. Let's see what you think. I'm experiencing this. Let's see if you think you're experiencing the same. And like I said, a lot of them have been with me for a lot of years, so they're like, "Whoo! Finally, he's changing the workout." Um, and I play tennis a couple times a week,
Okay.
and I'm trying to be smart about how long I feel like I can keep going because I like when I work out, I like to work out hard.
Okay.
So, and when I play tennis, I like to play tennis hard. So,
Okay.
but I also like to keep moving. So my off days, I walk because I
Okay.
feel like it gets me out of the house, I get in the sun, I'm moving, but I'm
Yep.
keeping low intensity, just trying to make this body last longer.
No, I get
Because
it.
when I'm not doing that, I'm kind of pounding it, and
Yep.
I know that's going to be harder and harder to keep up. So I'm just trying to fill the gaps with things that make me happy. I can listen to music. I can just breathe. But I'm out and moving, and that's feels good.
So you kind of got me thinking here. That'll lead into my last question for you here. But you got me thinking here. I wonder if maybe, maybe in another month, maybe we could have another conversation, maybe on a specific topic of being over 50, but still trying to live a life of wellness and exercise. But kind of maybe we talk about, all the things we have to kind of think about as we get 50, right?
Yeah,
Because I
that'd
know
be.
one, just like you on Saturday and Sunday, because Monday through Friday, I'll normally run on a treadmill.
Mm-hmm,
I don't run far. I mean, yesterday I did 3 miles. The most I'll do is like 4.5 or 5 on a treadmill, and that is it.
mm-hmm,
But there's some days if I do like a 4 mile run, the next day may only be like a 1.5. Right?
mm-hmm.
I'm trying to balance it out.
Yeah,
But on Saturdays and Sundays, we will walk 5 miles on Saturday. We'll walk 5 on Sunday. It's about an hour and a half.
mm-hmm.
But it's just to alleviate. We want to walk because I can't keep pounding. Right? I've got to back
Exactly.
off the aging thing. Um, and another thing I've done since I've been 50 is been more conscious about the quality of foods that I eat.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I don't know. Maybe that could be something we could talk about in the future.
I'm actually super interested in food and nutrition. I think that'd be a great topic. And I think that struggling with the getting older athlete thing would be a great topic too, man.
Yeah, because I think there's
That
a lot of people out there
finding,
that would be
finding
interested.
smart but not wanting to give up the badass.
Yeah,
It's not an easy balance.
it's but you're right. It's not an easy balance. But by George, I'm always trying to balance it out, and it's not easy sometimes. Um, but yeah,
Yeah,
so the last,
like when I was coaching, I ran a CrossFit gym out of Bath and Racket for a number of years, and I was super into that for a while, and I loved the intensity of it, man.
yeah,
It was fantastic, and you know, I was in my 40s, and everything just started being like
I know it.
and just you even though you can do it for a little while, you can't keep doing it, and you just have to find that thing that just works, like that you can keep doing, not just
Yeah,
eating the shit out of yourself and then being injured for 6 weeks from it. So
no, exactly.
I'd love to talk about that more.
So I think that yeah, we can. I'll work on that. We'll get back together and have that conversation. But before we leave us, could you give us the name of your website and then the address? Where can people find you in Sarasota? What's your address? What's a landmark or whatever?
I'm at 2748 Stickney Point Road. It's if you are driving down Stickney away, what is that? East from 41. I'm on
Yep.
the right hand side, right before you get to Swift. The places that everybody goes in there are Paisano's Italian Bakery and Ichiban Sushi Bar. Uh,
Okay.
so I'm right in there. The website is p6pt.com. And you can email us at Clayton at p6t at Clayton at p6pt.com. And my number is 941-266-0549.
Very well. We appreciate it, Clayton. But no, thanks for spending time with us. And let's see if we can get back together and maybe have that conversation about being over 50 and trying to still push and keep things going.
I'd love to have that conversation with you, buddy. I appreciate the opportunity too.
All right. Well, you have a good afternoon, Clayton, and we will talk to you very soon.